So okay guys, today's video is going to be an update on a previous project with my Raspberry Pi Zero W Headless Portable. Now over the years it held up great since the last time I showed it to you guys. I did swap cases once or twice from the original to a better one, and then I even removed the lengthy power cord, or power button, on and off button I should say, out of the case and incorporated it inside the case so it looked a little bit more inconspicuous. I also since upgraded the battery. Since the battery did fail over the years. I did say the battery was reclaimed, so I expected it to die, but not a few years later. Anyway, it did die, and I took the charge function from it and incorporated a newer, larger battery. Now this battery and charger IC worked kinda like a UPS. I could plug this thing in, use it, and if you lost power, it would stay on, continue doing whatever it was I had it doing at the time. Anyway, since then, since the final case was made, I made another case for a second Raspberry Pi Zero W that I wanted to make a portable. This time I had a 3D printer, so I thought it'd be cool to make something. Now I made it a little bit larger than the other portable for a bigger battery, and I gotta say it came out great, and when I saw the design and how well it looked when I printed it, I said to myself I had to go back to the previous portable and do things right, and that's exactly what I did. Now I did ditch the larger battery in the first portable. It's way smaller now, and I did that for a good reason. I saw a cool case on Thingiverse when I was planning out my case for this thing, and somebody else already designed something way better than I ever would have. Essentially, they had a battery incorporated in a case that made it look like a flash drive. And I thought to myself, that's super cool, but the parts and things that were used, he didn't label them off or provide links. He didn't say what kind of size the battery was in millimeters. So trying to recreate this project word for word was pretty much impossible. However, what it did provide was a great foundation. So what I did was I printed out a larger case to fit my parts, and I also made it in such a way that it would look even more like a flash drive by removing the ports entirely. Now with that said, maybe one day when I get the parts that he used to make his, I'll make the original version that this was based off of, because I like the original model a little bit better than mine. But there are some things my model does better than his model, and that is it can incorporate a different USB Type A stem. His model was built around just one USB-A type stem. Mine has been adapted for the underside version of that USB-A stem mod. In the end, the parts that I had available to make this were not the same as the ones that he had used. Like I said, I used a broken fake knockoff AirPods battery case charger. I took it apart and I realized the battery's small enough to fit in my new case, as well as the charger itself. So what I did was I looked up the battery name, got a new battery for that little AirPod charger thing, and I essentially hooked it back up to the charger and reverse engineered the circuit. I wanted to remove the need of using the USB micro port to just wire it up directly and charge it as it's plugged in my computer. So I did have to poke and prod around. I found the charger IC circuit online, and in the end I did get it all hooked up successfully. And I didn't get really any pictures of this, but hopefully by the time this video comes up, I'll have some pictures showing exactly what modifications I did to get that to work. Anyway, I do regret not keeping the plug, or at least moving the plug so you can charge it in and use it at the same time. It doesn't have the UPS function anymore, but overall I really like how this thing came out. For now it charges while I use it, and when I want to use it on the go I just power it off safely, and then I flick the switch on the back to turn it on. Now for those of you wondering, yes, I'm probably showing two different devices right now, or cases. I went through a few iterations of this. One had the switch on the bottom, which was horrible, and the one had the switch on the back, and I wanted to incorporate almost like a jack or a screw-on antenna adapter on the back of this thing, but there just wasn't the space. Maybe in version 2 I'll be able, or version 3 at this point, I'll be able to make that antenna adapter fit on the back, but for now it fits out of the way on the side of the case, and I gotta say, it's been working pretty good. Some things I like about the case are the lids are easily changeable and modifiable. I can put designs on them. I can even print it out in color changing PLA. So I printed the whole lid out in this orange to yellow converting. It's almost like a temperature changing PLA. Once it heats up, the color changes to another color. And I gotta say, it's really cool, especially when you put it on like a computer or something and you can virtually see the temperature shift when it starts to heat up, and it will let you know if anything's going wrong with your Pi, even if you don't have a terminal open, which is pretty cool. Anyway, speaking of temperatures, it stays relatively cold. The only time I ever got it to overheat was when I purposely launched it's almost like a bug at this point in the PwnPi firmware, which caused the CPU to throttle to 80 to 90, and even then it withstood the temperature fairly well. It never went over 60, and that's a safe temperature in my opinion for the Pi Zero W. Anyway guys, that's basically it for this video, but before I go, as a recap for those of you that don't know what the PwnPi device is, it's essentially kind of like a 4-in-1 Swiss Army knife of hacking tools. It's like a wireless attacking platform, it's a HID-based keyboard macro injecting platform, it can emulate your mouse, it can emulate a DVD drive or mass storage. It acts like an Ethernet gadget, so you can plug it in, steal passwords. Overall, it's really cool. I'll link the PwnPi software down below in the description, as well as the 3D model for, well, the original one for this, as well as the 3D model that I made if you guys wish to print one out, make one for yourself. I'll also link down the components that I used specifically in my 3D printed version of this. If you guys wish to replicate this, you should be able to just rip apart the Bluetooth charger dock for them fake AirPods, and you can easily put this thing together in maybe 10-15 minutes. But yeah, for now I'm going to leave today's video off here. TTPK signing off. Peace. Well, I really like this controller. There's just a few issues with its design in my opinion. Just like a well, it's super simple. Let's say I just type screen in and then top. Top is essentially